The markets are in turmoil again, as I predicted they might be, and potentially, depending on what happens next in Iran, what President Trump will decide to do, we might be in much bigger turmoil tonight and tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Or we might just get a relief. I just want to give you guys a quick update what I'm doing in these turbulent times and give you my perspective on what my strategy is with Tesla, with NVDA, with MicroStrategy, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, with the whole shebang and Robinhood. What do I do in this situation? There are lots of people out there, also smart people, who give smart advice of all kinds of things. So number one, this is not advice. I'm just sharing my perspective. I just saw Tom Nash, for example, telling everyone, look, just don't do anything. Weather the storm and it's all fine. And I just wanted to comment on this situation because I am also posting on X and sharing a little bit what I'm doing. And I'm not just weathering the storm. I am taking chips off the table. I did that already. Today I didn't do anything because I'm positioned the right way. I am ready for the crash. I'm ready for the rally. I'm ready for anything. But I prepared that and I did some tactical moves that I wanted to comment on. So we see Tesla down 24%, 25% for the year, which is pretty bad. I warned middle of December that Q1 is going to be nasty. I did not anticipate the Iran war, but if you had told me Tesla might be down 25%, I would have said, I'm not betting on it, but very possible. Down 15%, I would have said expected in Q1. 25 is a lot, but that is also due to the Iran situation. Today, I'm not going to give you an update on Pioneer Alpha. I'm going to do that probably tomorrow. We're getting the numbers in for last week. We are doing fine. We are outperforming Tesla. That is my only objective. But of course, we are down significantly. I think 15% or something for the year, which is not great. But we also have to think always relative to Tesla, which is our anchor baby, our anchor stock to capture the upside of AGI. Tesla is the stock I am betting on. I think strategically has the biggest midterm upside of all the Mag 7s. Number 2 position, by the way, is NVIDIA. That is the safest value stock in the Mag 7, in my opinion, because it has the strongest fundamentals and very low PE. But Tesla, I bet much more on. I think the rally will be dramatic in Tesla once we are getting through this. The first thing I always tell everyone, a lot of you guys are focused only on Tesla and you're saying, there, robotaxi, what does Elon do? We are delayed, the stock is crashing, investor losing confidence. And I see a lot of Tesla talk in the market. It's like, oh my God. And then the bulls say, yeah, this is when everyone runs for the exits. That's when you double down. And the bears say, I told you Tesla is overvalued. Look at JP Morgan and their call. It's $145 stock. It's going to crash. And then the people who abandoned ship, who used to be bulls and now they are for the exit and saying, I was wrong. FST and Cybercab is not coming. Let's run for the exits. I don't want to comment. I don't want to start this video commenting on Tesla alone. I want to always tell you guys, when we look at a stock, don't get lost in the weeds. Take a step back. Look at the market to understand what of this is Tesla and what of that is just the market. There is a little bit of Tesla in here, a little Tesla bearishness, but look at the market. We are down 1.28% again with the NASDAQ. If you click on the NASDAQ, year to date, much better than Tesla, but we are also down 6.57%. We were down much more last week. We had this inexplicable rally into madness, very inappropriate rally. So I think that was a much more appropriate point, 20,794 with the NASDAQ. S&P and Dow Jones look similar. Now, what is really going on here and what is actually happening? Before we go into that, we can also look at crypto, by the way. If you look at the Bitcoin price, and we can also take a look at MicroStrategy quickly, but Bitcoin is at 68,000. Bitcoin actually holding up very well in the Iran crisis, of course, not year to date. We are down 22, less than Tesla, but over the last month, it has held up tremendously. What's going on here? Tremendously, we are basically flat throughout the whole crisis. which is amazing. So Bitcoin, there is a lot of strength in here in crypto that I'm seeing. That's why I have my crypto exposure outside Pioneer Alpha, but I'm adding MicroStrategy in Pioneer Alpha, which is a very good proxy. Here is MicroStrategy over the last month, down 10%, which is weird because this is a treasury company only holding Bitcoin, went down much more than Bitcoin because there was some confidence loss and premium contraction in the stock, which is attractive, very attractive. But obviously, this entire slide, including that of Tesla, is a function of Iran. Look at, for example, this ETF, which is a Mag 7 ETF. Look at this. This is the Magnificent Seven, so Tesla and all the other guys, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta, and you know the whole shebang. Amazon, who did I forget? Apple, and so on, Meta. We are down 13% for the year. Half as much as Tesla, little more than half as much. So clearly we have an Iran problem. Here is where Iran started, end of February here, and since then we are sliding down. The president said he's going to destroy civilization, Persian civilization. He literally said that. You probably saw it on X. He tweeted, I'm going to destroy the civilization tonight at 8 p.m. if they don't come to the table. Very disturbing stuff. I'm not commenting on the politics, but what's clear for me, and you know I flipped on my taco theory that Trump is just pretending and he's not going to do something stupid. I took that off the table 2 weeks ago and said I was wrong. He is already doing something that could count as very stupid, in my opinion. And that means there is no real ceiling to how bad it could be because we are already in red territory. Now, that doesn't mean he's completely going off the rails and actually unleashing some kind of crazy thing that breaks the economy, but it is a clear possibility. And that's why I said multiple times now, the market has not priced in. The market has not priced in the real downside risk of the whole situation. It could get much, much worse. The market is actually doing the opposite. The market is saying, well, it's not going to be as bad as it looks like, when I think it could actually be worse than it looks like. I'm not saying it will be, but it clearly could be. And what I'm trying to convey to everyone watching is we have to treat the market as our great exercise and training ball, punching ball for engineering and predicting reality. That's why the markets are so exciting. They help us to make predictions and get measured against it. If you're right, you make money. If you're wrong, you lose money. So it's the best training environment, the best dojo. Best dojo. To train yourself in being right or wrong with reality because you're getting rewarded or punished right away. And when you look at that reality and what the NASDAQ actually did so far, if you look at that, the NASDAQ over the Iran war, it's basically not reacting the way you would expect. Here's where the Iran war started, 22,748. So it's down like not even 10%. It's like 5% down, right, since the start of the war, when the war could actually crash and destroy the global economy if it escalates. Some rumors already said on X, I don't know if it's true or not, that the US started actually bombarding Kark Island. The 90% of Iranian oil flows through that. Iran already said if that happens, they will retaliate and attack the oil production infrastructure in Saudi Arabia and all over the place, all over the Gulf. It's going to be horrible. And the demand destruction that follows the supply destruction, demand destruction because of higher oil prices, is going to wreak immense havoc on the global economy. And when we predict reality, what is very important is to understand we have to think in probabilities. We can't sit here and say this is going to happen or this is going to happen, right? We cannot say, no one, not even Trump, can say, is A going to happen or B going to happen? Are we going to retreat and shut it down and off-ramp us out of the madness and everything will be fine? Or are we going to escalate and destroy everything? No one knows. So in this situation, here's the hack, how you win. You do not try to force future reality into your A or B situation when you clearly don't know the answer. What you're doing is you put probabilities on it, okay? And that's a real hack thinking about reality. Instead of trying to make a point and trying to be a political dude on X and making your point, I love Trump, I hate Trump, he's crazy, he's smart, it's 5D chess, whatever. The truth is we don't know. We never really know. And you have to think in scenarios. What if X happens versus what if Y happens? And then you put percentages on it. And you can create many scenarios. You can create a continuum of scenarios. Do I think we need to construct a scenario where the United States nukes Iran? No, I think that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. But I definitely have a scenario that has a significant double-digit percentage chance in my mind that we see an escalation, which will be very likely then, if we see the escalation, lead to a horrible defeat of the United States, in my opinion. At least that's a very high chance. Of course, maybe they just win. That's a lower chance, also possible. And if we put an escalation potential of 30% on this whole thing, which I think is reasonable, let's say 30% chance that we escalate, 70% chance that we see a nice taco and it's actually over this week. But 30%, no, they're going in, they're bombing more, Iran responds, bombs even more, civilians die, boots on the ground. From there it escalates. If that happens, we haven't even seen the beginning of a crash. This is not even a crash what we are seeing. Sure, for Tesla shareholders it feels like it, 25% down. But you saw it last year. We went from the exact same high, from 480 to 220. That's a 60% drop. Right now we are 25%. We have more than 100% more to drop if that happens for Tesla. For the market, I would say it's even worse. The market can drop more than 100% of what it dropped so far. If the market dropped 5% so far, it could easily drop 20%. So I think Tesla in relative terms, so the market has less to drop, but could still be very bloody. But the market, oh my God, completely mispriced this risk. Now, obviously, the question is, what is that risk? Yeah, what is that 30? Is it 30%? Is it 10%? Is it 5%? But it is definitely something. It's definitely not 0%. And in my opinion, it's also clearly above 10%. So the odds of a market crash of 10 to 20%, let's say 15 to 20%, another 10 to 15% from where we are right now. Do the math. That's NASDAQ at 18,000. The odds for that are probably 30%. That should be priced in. And it's not. So that is why I took some stakes off the table across the board, not just Tesla. I, of course, maintain my core positions. That's not just true for Tesla. Tesla is by far my biggest core position that I don't touch. But I have still, of course, Robinhood. I have MicroStrategy. I have the biggest second chunk is NVDA. But let me put it like that. I have exposure significantly under 100%. So if they all go down 10%, I'm not going down 10%. Of course, if they go up 10%, I'm not going up 10%. That's the price you pay. Here's how I think about it. Before I say what a normal retail investor, in my opinion, should ideally do without giving you any kind of advice, but what I would do if I would just be a retail investor. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking chips off the table because I'm assessing the market risk is not priced accurately by the market short term. So I think we have more downside than upside from here from a probabilistic perspective, even though I believe the chance of a rally this week is higher than the chance of us dropping. But the drop is too severe, the tail risk. I don't want any of it. So taking some chips off the table, having a reduced position, only core position, that is how I view it. Very important. That's what people get wrong. I'm not reacting to the market. I didn't take off some Tesla chips, for example, because Tesla dropped. That is absolutely wrong. Never, never would I do that. That is chasing the market or chasing a stock. That's a losing game because you're always wrong, or I'm always wrong if I would do that. I'm purely reacting on the macro and fundamental geostrategic situation. I'm not reacting to the market. I'm reacting only to the market to the extent that I think the market is overpriced given the risk. But I'm mostly reacting to the existing risk that I'm seeing. Okay? So when I say these things, listen very closely because what I'm saying is very precise. So you understand why I'm doing things. I'm taking chips off the table because the geostrategic risk of an escalation in Iran is higher than the market prices in right now. It's significant. I wouldn't say it's over 50%, but I estimate it at 30%. And the trickle effect, if that escalation happens, and the immense added downside risks from there on are, of course, also not priced in. So that is why I don't want to be fully exposed. When do I go back in? And what do I think about the whole situation? If it wouldn't be for Iran, I do believe, and I had a video out on that with a big fat thumbnail, I think this is a completely coiled spring. We are in the middle of the biggest revolution in human history. And I'm talking the economic AGI revolution. I'm calling it economic AGI, economic artificial general intelligence, to get all the geeks off my back who say, Joe, you're so stupid. You don't know what AGI is. These computers are so stupid. They are not intelligent. Bro, I'm not going to go into some philosophical discussion with geeks here over AGI. I'm an economist. I'm telling you, economic AGI is here and has already far surpassed the median mid-level employee. The agents and the revolution with OpenClaw and everything what we are seeing every day. I'm doing this every day now. We are building an agent team here. It's absolutely crazy. An agent team, by the way, not an Asian team. Agent team. So that agent team, we're not the only ones doing that. This is spreading like wildfire right now through the economy. From Silicon Valley all the way to Stockholm, lovable, great company, Berlin and all over the place, China, I'm sure. That revolution will create by an enormous distance the greatest productivity increase in human history by end of this year. At least for the people who use it. But then the share of people and companies using this will go through the roof. That will drive stocks like NVDA into the stratosphere, no pun intended, and especially Tesla and SpaceX. But also Amazon and so on and so forth. Also, once they go public, Anthropic just killed it. Crazy. I will have another video on Anthropic overtaking the annual run rate of OpenAI, $30 billion ARR suddenly, 4x from what it was last year. This is all happening, and Iran doesn't change anything when it comes to that. So strategically, we are on a coiled spring. Tesla has robotaxi coming up, and SpaceX and all kinds of things. And so the situation is I'm taking chips off the table solely because of the macro situation, and I monitor the situation hour by hour. Because at the millisecond I see this is over, which could happen any time now. It could happen tonight at 8 p.m. So don't mistake my caution with bearishness. I think there's a higher chance than not that this is over tomorrow. But the chance it's not over has too much downside risk. So that's why I can't just have full exposure. But at the millisecond this is over, truly over, we have to be cautious. No head fake, no Trump saying, oh, we pushed the deadline. No, where we see clear indications that the US is stopping this whole craziness. At that millisecond, it's time to jump on the train. We have to have in our mind Tesla at 460, 480 without even robotaxi. This will go back in no time. NVIDIA to 190 and so on. This is going to happen in absolutely no time once we take Iran off the table, this whole Iran situation. So we have to be a little schizophrenic if you want to play this whole thing, like I have to. You have to be ready to basically take chips off the table, be a little bit on the sidelines, have an exposure of less than 1x, right? Not leveraged, not 100%, but less. That's what I'm doing. So if this drops another 10 or 20%, you are dropping less than 10 or less than 20%. That's the entire goal here. But at the same time, you need to be able to switch on the spot into complete aggression mode with a 2x or 3x leverage. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And of course, the challenge is head fakes, right? The challenge will be in real time to decide, is that actually the end or is it another fake? But we are nearing some sort of decision. That is my situation and what I'm going to do. So I do not mind being down 15% or whatever we are right now for the year. We clearly beat Tesla. Tesla's down 25%. That's all I need because I'm gonna ride the Tesla rocket to the moon once it ignites. And so all I need to do to win significantly is to have alpha over Tesla. That's all I need. Now, Tom Nash. Let's talk about what Tom said about don't touch anything. Don't be nervous. If you want to play the game I'm explaining here, you have to be very cautious because this is a full-time job. You need to monitor the situation. And if you think you are too emotional about it, you don't know how to execute quickly, which is a challenge. I made a mistake yesterday, just a dumb operational mistake. I got assigned NVDA short puts. I didn't see it. And I took a little bit right down. I lost probably 0.8% today of my portfolio value because I made a stupid operational mistake. Even I make these mistakes sometimes because I assigned it yesterday. I didn't pay attention. I thought I was off all the short puts, which I was. But it was because they assigned me thousands and thousands of these NVIDIA shares that I didn't see. And today's like, why am I down so much? Less than Tesla, but I was like, this is too much. What happened? I shouldn't have that exposure. And then I saw, boom. So stupid little mistakes. And that happens to me, and I'm paying a lot of attention. So if you want to play this like that, you need to make it a full-time job. And if you can't, or don't have the emotional composition of your personality to do that, Tom Nash is right. If you have a thesis like Tesla, NVIDIA, whatever your thesis is, stick to the thesis, don't touch anything. Because in the end, in the big scheme of things, who cares if this goes down 50% or whatever, it's going to go up much more. We know the game. You just have to be patient and wait. So it is very clear that you have to make a strategic decision. Are you someone who trades around a core position, who has conviction, but then wants to generate alpha? Then make it a full-time job. Train your nerves. Make them of steel. Don't become a little crybaby on X. Don't become a political person. Cold-bloodedly follow the accounts you like. Cold-bloodedly listen to everyone and then create your scenarios, your probabilities, and then execute and don't make operational mistakes. And you probably win after you lose a lot in the beginning, because you have to pay for learning this. But if you don't want to do all of these things, you just want to relax and enjoy the ride into the age of AGI, then, take on your core positions, make sure you don't need the money, make sure you don't have to sell it anytime soon in the next 3 years, and you should be fine. So Tom is right about that. But of course, some people are greedy, like me, and we want to chase a little alpha. So far, we do it brilliantly, works great, but you have to pay attention. So that is my take on the whole thing. We will see tonight what happens, and I hope you survive the whole situation. Just don't react emotionally ever to politics, and do not take any actions you would regret. Be cold-blooded, be someone who plays with the percentages, understand everything follows probabilities and scenarios. Your job is to assess the probabilities correctly, invent the scenarios correctly, and then execute the trades correctly if you want to do that. And the reason why I'm always sticking to my core position is because in the long run, this is a beautiful thing that always works out. So I hope that was interesting. I just want to give you that on the way today, and hope I see you alive. I hope we all are alive tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Exciting times. See you then.